And even at this age, you're really passionate. You're serving. You're disciplined. And if we can go back to what do we need to know about your childhood that shapes up the man that we have in front of us today?
Well, it was a classic good childhood. I mean, I was the oldest. I was the only boy. I had four sisters, four younger sisters, which led to some interesting stuff. But all of us bright. My parents were well organized, and it was, just stuff like, for example, dinner was dinner. You did not come in an hour late. You were there, all of us. And one of the things about all of that is that then you have the conversation around the table. And as one gets older, that gets more and more adult. And you get to see how people interact and what the ideas are.
Were you close to your parents?
I don't know. They were good parents, and I did my best to be a good son. That's what I would say.
Yeah. What do you think of AI now? How?
Well, the problem is, fundamentally, of course, I have always made my living by writing. I mean, when I was teaching German, I did a lot of writing in German and about things German.
Yeah.
And basically, the way you learn, or at least the way I learned, was you got a bunch of stuff that was relevant to the problem, you read it all, and then you tried to make sense out of it. And right now, and with the AI, that does it for you.
Yeah.
And I don't see how you're going to learn to think that way.
It's diminishing our capacity to do critical thinking.
Well, the point is that the only place I can see where people are going to keep on thinking the way I learned to think is on the frontiers of science.
Yeah.
Because this is stuff that the AI can't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because it hasn't been added to the body of knowledge.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the scientists are going to have to keep on thinking. Looking at new phenomena and trying to figure out. And because it's new, they won't be able to consult the AI. I mean, the answer they should get back is, I don't know. Since AI has basically everything that is known at its disposal.
Yeah.
And if there's a question where the answer is known, AI can answer it. But if there's a question where the answer truly is not known, AI can't answer it.
For anyone that is looking to graduating, or anyone should they pursue, what type of career do you recommend at this point of age of?
Well, what should I say? The point is, AI is going to be a tremendous tool.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, because, like, for example, with the law, it's all about what people have already decided about the issue. And AI just makes life a whole lot easier. I mean, when I first got into the computer business, the way that you found information in a computer system was by using Boolean algebra queries.
Mm.
And or not. Okay?
Yeah.
And that required, among other things, that you properly analyze what it is you're trying to figure out. Whereas now the modern systems, and it's cool. You just give it a sentence and it comes back with what you want.
Yeah. Even when I did IT in high school, some of the things that I learned is no longer usable. It's that even coding and stuff.
Yeah. And So I don't know what they're going to do to teach people how to think, because I know how I learned to think,
Yeah.
and I owe it to a bunch of excellent English teachers in high school and college.
Should we be more concerned about it? Should we be more
yeah.
aware?
Oh yeah.
Because it just seems like people aren't really like taking notice on it.
Well, the people in the educational system are worrying about it.
Yeah.
I mean, because they understand how they learned English, they understand how they taught English, and but I think, well, the other place, of course, just thinking about it right now, where AI can't help is interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what the person's going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, after a while, I mean, you know, you get a husband and wife who've been married for 10 years, the AI can probably figure out what their responses to each other are going to be. Okay? But talking to someone on a date, the AI isn't going to be helpful.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it'll give you information if that's what you want, want something to talk about. But
Yeah.
in terms of figuring out what it is that the person is going to say or do in response, I mean, first of all, you have to pay attention to them, and second of all, you have to do some analysis.
I heard a story about a woman that said that the AI was telling her more things, like to her, that she felt more like content, happy than her husband. I don't know if that's true.
Well, I mean, if the AI is listening to you, it can certainly make judgments about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would expect that after spending a couple of weeks simply listening to a married couple, the AI with who has been taught about marriage,
Yeah.
would be able to reach some pretty valid conclusions.
What do you think we must do? Like, what should we do? Like, as families or individuals?
I really don't know.
To be ahead of that.
Because the problem is that learning to think is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It is, at least for me, it has been fun work, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And if all you have to do is punch a button instead of read 50 cases,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to give you a better answer than you're going to get because it has more access to more stuff than you've got.
Yeah.
I mean, so we'll see. It's like I say, my immediate take on it is that you want to study science because it necessarily works on the edge.
Yeah.
Science and technology. I mean, inventing is something that, in other words, I mean, I used to be a patent attorney, and basically, I doubt they think about it this way, but if AI can make the invention, it's obvious, and therefore not patentable.
Yeah.
I mean, you see why.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just simply puts together all the old stuff, and what it comes up with is a slightly different flavor of the old stuff, not something that's really new.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not patentable. But the other thing that it's going to do, I mean, but this is what has been happening generally in human affairs for a very long time. The improvements favor the smarter people.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be that the guys that had the best future were the ones who were strongest. And you had to be strong to be a farmer. That's all there was to it. But in this modern age, in Illinois, a married couple can, just by themselves, run a farm of 1,000 acres. And one of the reasons they can do that, of course, is that everything is power equipment. And you don't have to be strong to run that power equipment. So you have a rush time like planting or harvest. The husband and wife just take shifts, and they run those machines 24 hours.
Yeah.
But before those machines were invented, there's no way you could do that. I mean, The wife just simply was not strong enough to do the kind of heavy work that physical work that a farmer had to do.
You think all of this advancement in technology is affecting our relationship, like family relationship, how we connect with each other, how we connect just as a whole?
Well, I am biased. I come out of 47 years of a very, very happy marriage. Okay, and we just didn't use a lot of the technology. I mean, like, for example, with our kids, when they were young, they were in a play group, and we noticed that they were doing better from our point of view than the other kids in the play group. And we thought about it, and we came to the conclusion that the reason was that we didn't have a TV set. So we didn't have a TV set. And from then on in, the only time in our marriage when we had a TV set was when my mother-in-law, a wonderful, wonderful lady, lived with us, but she was a diehard University of Illinois sports fan. So we had to have a TV so she could watch the sports.
Without that, you just mentioned about your marriage. What do you think is one of the secrets for a long-lasting relationship?
Okay, being married to Sheila. Seriously. I mean,
what was so special about her?
Well, now it took me 11 years to figure this out, but what was so special about her was that she was a very serious Christian. And I mean, when I first got to know her in graduate school at Yale, she was just a wonderful person. And it took me, as I say, 11 years of being married to her to figure out that the reason for her being such a wonderful person was that she was a very serious Christian. You know, I mean, I'd grown up as a Presbyterian, so I didn't have any objections or anything like that. And the combination of 11 years of Sheila plus moving down south and spending some time in a Baptist adult Sunday school ended up with me, you know, as a Southern Baptist, if you're going to be a member, you got to get baptized again. So I did that, and since then, I have been a serious Christian. But that's what I would explain, and the wonder of the thing is that she was willing to marry me.
What do you think she saw in you?
What?
What do you think she saw in you?
Well, what she said about it, first of all, graduate school is probably not the best place in the world to look for a husband, particularly not a graduate school in German. I mean, Sheila was at least as smart as I am, probably, I think, actually smarter. And as a teacher, one of the best in the world. I mean, we just fit together. And what finally led to us getting married was I got this year's scholarship in Yale, or not in Yale, but in Germany when I was at Yale. Okay. And what Sheila said was, I may not be here in a year from now. And my immediate response to that was, when is the wedding?
What she said?
What?
What did she say?
Well, you know, we started working on the wedding.
Wow.
But basically what she said was that she had checked my references and we just got along. In other words, what I mostly remember 47 years of marriage was the fun we had together.
How did you guys resolve
What?
How did you resolve any conflict?
It never really arose.
No?
In other words, as I say, Sheila was at least as smart as I was. And I have a proverb about that, which is, a smart wife is the greatest labor-saving device known to man. And if you've got a smart wife, you listen to her.
So we must be really careful who we pick.
I mean, Sela, I think, was picked for me. And that was simply a great act of grace on the Lord's part, is how I look at it.
Wow.
And one of the things, after Sela's death, one of the things that has made it endurable is that I can still feel her around. I know she knows what I'm doing, and I know that she is happy.
How you overcome the grief of losing her?
I've got a house full of kids to take care of a piece of the grief problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just, unbelievably lonesome. And the now no longer kids have solved that.
Yeah.
And what I would like to do, and we've been kind of talking around it, is figuring out how to age in place with the kids. You know what aging in place is?
No.
Have you ever heard that term?
No.
Okay, it's what you do when you're. The question is, what do you do when you're somebody like me? I mean, you're a widow or a widower, and you are now living by yourself. And what I started out with was what one normally does if one is in my social position, is go to places like Edgewood here in North Andover. And the way that works is they look at people like me, and what have we got? We've got a paid-for house, and we generally also have a fair amount of some kind of money in the bank. Okay? And so what they have is an arrangement whereby you sell your house and give most of the money from that to them, and then they give you a place to live, and you use the money that you have beyond the house basically to pay rent, the income from that money.
Okay.
And then basically what they provide is you have meals, you've got other people living there, and as your health degrades, they've got what you need there to take care of all of that, and it works for its purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem I had with it was simply that everybody in the place was like me. Perfectly respectable people. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, there's all kind of good things about it, but it's not very interesting.
Yeah.
Not nearly as interesting as 6 Latinos.
Loud and
Well, it's just, what the thing is, like Miner running his business.
Yeah.
I've never really had a close relationship with somebody who was running his own business. Okay, and Bruce is just simply an exceptional person in a lot of ways.
I think they also have maybe they have found like a father figure in you.
I'm not sure. I mean,
because also they have come from a really, really hard childhood.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's nobody in the house is from what I, as a middle-class American, would consider a proper family. I mean, the Estebans, if I've counted, Mom has, I think if you count them all, 7 kids, was never married.
Yeah.
And the kids are still in pretty good shape.
Mm-hmm. Why did you choose patent law?
I didn't choose it.
You didn't choose it?
No. I mean, what happened was, well, I'm very proud of this, okay? One of my students at MIT, when I didn't get tenure, and I ended up with another job offer, but Sela and I looked at it and said, Germany is a dying business. It's not going to support us for the time we need to be supported. And one of my students at MIT had meanwhile become an engineer at a long-gone computer company called Data General. And they needed technical writers. And he knew I needed a job, so he recommended me. So I went to work writing manuals for computer programs. And I guess I did a good job of it because basically I came to the attention of the legal department and they put me to writing patent applications. Okay, and then I got transferred down to their advanced development lab in North Carolina, and they decided to send me to law school, which was an easy decision down there because it was $500 a term.
Oh, wow.
Because I was a resident. I mean, the company had the choice between sending me to the University of North Carolina Law School, which is an excellent law school, and Duke Law School, which is maybe even more excellent, but on the other hand, it cost $5,000 a term. So it was an easy decision for the company.
Oh, okay, I see.
And so I went to law school for 4 years, working full-time and going to law school part-time. And I guess that was a good example of how our marriage worked. Because, okay, what are we going to do about this? Because this is going to be 4 years where neither of us is going to have is going to have time. Because, you know, I'm going to be doing law school and work, and that means I'm going to have to dump some stuff onto Sela. And combined with that is the fact that law school is a frequent cause of divorce. And in fact, what Sela said was that its main effect on me was to make me argue more. But anyway, what we decided to do, having lived in Brookline and having had to do with Orthodox Jews, who of course simply don't work on Saturday, end of discussion. And we just did that on Sunday. In other words, Saturday night to Sunday night. That was church and family time. I didn't do either law school work or work. And we got through it all really pretty well.
Those are good principles for us to take, because we are just busy and just trying to get this and make money and that and.
Well, at least in a marriage, what comes, okay, the pronoun is we. Not I, not you, we. Consider ending up with Sela as my wife as an act of grace. I cannot explain it as any particular virtue of mine. She was willing to take a chance on me, and I certainly didn't have any problems with taking a chance on her.
Yeah.
And like I say, it worked wonderfully well. But I mean, the only advice I can give, I mean, of course, the we is a whole lot easier if you're both Christian.
And not be unequally yoked.
Well, we were strictly speaking unequally yoked for 11 years. And it still worked because Sela was so wonderful. Okay, but it is an issue because Christians do look at the world in a manner that is fundamentally different from the way other people look at it.
Yeah.
And it's things like Sela came to Yale. She was a year behind me, and she did old German literature, and what I did was modern German literature. so we were a one-family German department. Okay, but the first thing she did was take a class from one of Yale's most renowned female professors in that area, and she came out of that with the conclusion that she was not interested in that. So she basically decided that what she really wanted to do was teach. And she did that pretty much wherever we went, down in North Carolina, because the kids were small. Well, and she always, when the kids were in school, one of the aims was to teach in the school in a school that the kids were in, because that way you can tell what's going on. And so what she did was, and of course, one of the things about the way the world worked and still works is that she had a PhD in German literature from Yale University, but had never had an ed course. Therefore, there were all kinds of systems in which she could not be hired as a teacher, in spite of the fact that she was a super duper teacher, and particularly after she'd been working for a while, could prove it. I mean, we moved around and she got all of these good teaching jobs. But what she did down in North Carolina was teach an elementary school German course after school. Had a lot of fun with that.
She loved it.
And as I say, it got her in the school, so she knew what was going on.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity later on, when we were both doing stuff with partners in development, to teach under her.
How was it?
Oh, just out of my league as a teacher. In other words, to say I'm a pretty good teacher, but not anything like as good as she was. And so I just did what I could to help. I mean,
yeah, it's so amazing, the dynamics that you guys have, the respect that you had towards her, and just
yeah, well, and of course, teaching is fun.
yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons why I didn't get tenure at MIT was that I was having too much fun teaching all those smart kids German. And I should have been writing books.
You wanted to write a book?
What?
Did you wanted to write a book?
Oh, I had a couple of ideas, but I was having too much fun teaching the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, we were doing things like putting on German plays, with Sela doing the costumes.
Wait, what were some of the books that you wanted to write?
It was books about German literature. But of course, one of the things I learned at MIT is that one of the big differences between a professor of literature and an engineer or a scientist is that the professors of literature don't make literature. They just study it.
Yeah. Okay.
Scientists make science, quite literally, in the sense that they find more science.
Yeah.
And you have new science as a result. The same thing with engineers. You end up with new devices.
Okay.
And so it's in many ways, I mean, you have to have people that teach language. And learning language is very, very useful in all kinds of ways. But being, how should I put it? Being a scholar in it is not as productive for the society generally as doing stuff in science and technology. And one of the great things about being a patent attorney was that I got a chance to hang around some of the world's best technology people. I was working at AT&T's Bell Labs for a while. And the thing is, the inventions were interesting, and the inventors were, if possible, more interesting. And so you get to hang around with these guys.
Yeah. Must have been an amazing experience to be at such a prestigious school, too, at MIT.
Well, like I say, that was just fun. I mean, the kids always had stuff going on. Well, like, I don't know. You may remember on US One, the restaurant that had the cattle out front. Well, one of the MIT hacks was to take one of those and put it on top of the MIT dorm, of the MIT dome, in the main building. And the thing is that is a thing which requires a huge pile of engineering skill and thought as to how you evade the university police and the Cambridge police and how you get the get the cow from US One down to Cambridge, and so on and so forth. And the students were always doing stuff like that.
Have they changed the curriculum? Do you think how has it been at the time that you were to the time there is now?
I don't think it's changed much.
No?
I mean, what you have to know to be an engineer or a scientist has stayed the same.
Have you gone back to visit MIT?
Occasionally. I mean, the place where it's interesting right now is that one of the kids in the house has a nephew who is a possible MIT candidate.
Oh, wow.
And so she's been worrying about that. And, well, I guess to sum it all up, given the choice between, if a kid has the choice between MIT and Harvard, I would say MIT.
Why should they go to MIT instead of Harvard?
Because it is about science and technology. And what I've been talking about how if you're working on the edge there, it's a place where it still makes sense to do original things. And it's not going to be utterly destroyed by AI, which might happen with the humanities. And of course, the other thing I guess I would throw in there is that I come from a family of movers. And you've got movers and stayers. Stayers, of course, and the difference is something like this. If you're a mover, you follow your profession.
Yeah.
If you're a stayer, you look at your profession from the point of view of this is where I want to live, what do I do? And with Celia and I, we were movers. But when we moved, we always did our best to move in with the stayers, so to speak. And that's one of the places where church membership was absolutely crucial. Because what it gives you is instant roots in the community.
What's the piece of advice that still has stayed with you, is still with you up to this day? Any lesson, any advice that is...
Okay, my dad's advice, which I have passed on to the kids. Do the best you can and don't worry about it.
Not worry about it?
What?
Not worry about it?
No, don't worry about it.
Oh, don't worry about it.
In other words, if you are doing the best you can, you're going to be competitive, so you don't need to worry. Don't waste time worrying. Just do the best you can.
Gene, if you can go back in time and live an age of your life, what age would it be?
I'm still having fun.
You're still having fun?
Yeah. I mean, well, okay. If I could have Celia back, yeah. That's a no-brainer. But
otherwise,
like I say, I'm having fun.
So you have no regrets?
Not really, no.
No.
Just thankful.
Thankful, yeah.
Because like for example, the kids. I mean, I was simply a bad widower. That's all there was to it. I mean, because I'd had such a good marriage. I think that's the downside of having a very good marriage. When your partner dies, you're kind of stuck. And, and basically what happened there was that Gabriella needed to find a place for, she had too many kids living in the house down there on the other end of Haverhill Street.
Yeah.
And the fire marshal told her she had to get rid of some of them or he would shut them down, the house down. And so she knew I had an empty house with just me in it. She said, "Can you take some kids?" And I thought about it for a while and I couldn't figure out any reasons why not. And so I ended up with the kids. And it has been very, very, very fruitful for me.
Yeah. They brought joy. They brought
Well, just
noise.
Well, no, just dumb stuff. Like Sela was a fantastic cook. And so cooking was a big part of our lives together. You know, cooking stuff and eating it.
Brought you guys together.
What?
It brought you guys together.
Well, yeah, I mean, what we actually did is she did most of the cooking. But what we did for the whole time of our marriage was we traded off on dishes. One of us would do dishes, and the other one of us would read a book out loud while we were doing that, and we'd swap back and forth every night.
Wow.
And so none of that anymore, of course. And good cooking for oneself is tough because it's a whole pile of work.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I needed was an audience. And the kids gave me an audience for the cooking.
Was Sela a better cook, or were you?
What?
Was Sela better at cooking, or were you?
Oh, Sela was far better as a cook. I just learned enough to be a pretty good cook. But again, it's kind of like the teaching. I was a good teacher, but not in Sela's class. And similarly, I'm a reasonable cook, but again, not in Sela's class. But again, there were people sitting around the table, you know, company and so on and so forth. And one of the things you need for cooking is an audience.
You love cooking. So you love cooking.
Yeah, it's fun.
Is there a recipe that you still do or make that you used to cook together with Sela?
You will find in my kitchen one of the things that Sela did, one of the last things she did as she got sicker and sicker, was that she wrote a cookbook for her grandchildren. And that was with the help of a couple of her daughters-in-law. That thing was published.
Oh, it was published? She
Yeah,
published?
but this was before modern publication. I mean, it was distributed among the family and friends. And I have my kitchen copy of that thing, incredibly beat up, but and that's.
Would you publish it to?
It's probably too special.
You wouldn't want to.
Well, no, I mean in the sense that it was part of our marriage, and and it reflects it in terms of experiences and everything else. I mean, the way it actually got started was as a wedding present.
Yeah.
In other words, when people we knew got married, Sela would do a cookbook for them based on what she knew about them and her cooking. And that grew finally into the cookbook that she put together before she died.
Where did you guys learn this?
What, the cooking?
Yeah.
Sela, Well, Sela's mom wasn't bad, and she just loved doing it. In fact, what got us being serious with each other was the German graduate students had a joint Thanksgiving meal. You know, and we all shared in the cooking of it. And Sela and I ended up making the onion soup, which meant that we had to spend about 2 hours peeling and slicing onions. And we got to know each other pretty well in that 2 hours. And it kind of went from there.
I think that is a good practical way for a couple just to do things together.
Well, like I say, things like the way we did dishes.
Yeah. Where does communication stand in a relationship?
Well, like I say, it's we. And that means that communication is right at the center. Because that's what makes you and me into we and us. And that's simply the crux of it.
Yeah. Because I guess there can be a time where, we want our partners to do things for us.
Well, you do them for each other. I mean, it's... What does Sela need? And her coming the other way, what does Jean need? And then you work it out on that basis. I mean, you can't put yourself first.
Yeah.
And like I say, it was grace as far as I'm concerned. Nothing I deserved that 47 years.
Do you think some of the values that your parents instilled in you carry that in? It helped you in your marriage?
Oh yeah, but on the other hand, that's the whole point of both of us, because of our parents, were experienced in what was involved in a good marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had seen it, we had been part of it, and so that you start out with that working knowledge, and that's the kind of thing that makes the large numbers of kids that are being raised by single moms scary, because there's no way they're going to experience that.
Yeah. King, do you think that God chooses our partner?
What?
Or do you think God chooses our partner, or that or we choose?
Well, like I say, it has to be understood, I think, as regards Sela, as an act of grace. I mean, it involves things like us slicing onions.
Yeah.
But it certainly wasn't any virtue on my part. Beyond maybe simply being willing to be part of a we.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of.
What is one lesson that we must learn, like that you have learned, that we must learn, that you want to share, that overall you have learned in your life, that
Well,
just in life in general, or just marriage maybe?
well, in marriage, I've already said it over
Yeah.
and over. It's the we.
Yeah. But in life, what is maybe a lesson that you have learned?
Well, so that my dad's do the best you can and don't worry about it works.
Yeah.
And I've had an enormous amount of fun, and I think I've been useful. And that's really about all you can ask for.
So I have two last questions. One is, what is one advice that you would give to the younger generation?
Well, I mean, I think probably to do the best you can and don't worry about it, because following that makes you into one of the good people that are hard to find.
Yeah.
And if you are one of those, you can end up doing all kinds of things.
And then last, how can we finish strong in our faith? Because you still, up to this point, you're still serving, waking up early in the choir.
Well, that's because I'm still really healthy. I mean, and my example there was Seela. I mean, when she got really sick, she had to go into Mass General to get chemotherapy. Okay, and I went in there. You know, I was driving her in and out. And I sat there, and basically, what she was doing was counseling the person who was giving her the chemotherapy. You know, so that was Seela. I mean, she's sick. She doesn't have very much time, but she does have enough time to help the nurse that is giving her the chemotherapy with the nurse's problems.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way one wants to do it.
Yeah. What do you think has kept you strong in your faith and just having this love for God, even at this age, and just not being weak in faith and being...
Well, I learned all that from Seela, really. I mean, you know, well, as you can see from all of this, what you need to have a good marriage and what you need to have a good Christian life are like this. Because again, it's all about the we.
Yeah.
It's just, and of course, one of the problems in this country right now is that it's more and more and more and more and more about me.
Yeah, it has become about individualism. It has become more about me. It has become more...
Yeah, well, it's just you put yourself first.
Yeah. That also relates to our relationship with God.
What?
It also relates to our relationship with God, about the sacrifices that we must do also in our faith.
Well, yeah, but sacrifices, I don't know. I mean, is helping kids with their SIJs a sacrifice? I don't think so. I mean, it's taking some time, but the only real sacrifice is I could be doing something else, but why would I want to?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Gene, we are so blessed to have you. Really, I'm honored to have you, and really, it's a blessing.